So I got here a little late for the light. Borrego Springs, Palm Canyon. I'm the last person up here apparently, except for my daughter and her friend. California fan palms, people. These are the native California. These are the only palm native to California. This palm used to inhabit like much of California back when it was tropical. And we had the inland sea when Sacramento was covered by probably 30 feet of water. And it had giant record-breaking sized sharks swimming in it. But then it got less rainy and less warm. And the poor palm tree, it needed water. So what did it do? It decided to just like do what a whole bunch of Easterners do and just move to the desert, especially in winter, and then just hang out in the desert next to water. What a life, right? So yeah, I'll get a couple more shots further up the canyon here. And there it is. Washingtonia foliifera. I'll tell you a little more about this tree. Boo! Ha. So this is the reason, people, that I don't feel guilty at all for making California tropical again. Because it used to be tropical. And, well, now it is again because we're helping it. But it always was tropical because this palm basically is probably the biggest example of California being tropical by definition. And, yeah, native palms of California right here. This is different from Washingtonia robusta. Washingtonia robusta gets a darker green frond. The frond isn't as big. And what else? Washingtonia robusta has a lot of red in the petiole. We'll see if we see any red in here. Yeah, there's a little bit of what I guess you could call red in there. But Washingtonia robusta would have much more red. And the fronds on the California fan palm are much larger in proportion. And of course, the Washingtonia foliifera, this looks a little tricky. Whee! Whee! And yeah, Washingtonia foliifera, this one here, California fan palm, is has a fatter trunk. The only problem is, I would be in here if it was hotter. It's only like 70 degrees right now. It's late January. And this is so cool. Palm Springs area has something just like this. It's just as good. The obviously the thatch is highly useful. I'm sure the Native Americans use that for shedding rainfall. What surprises me though is that this palm being so useful, it didn't get traded all the way up the coast. amongst the natives before the Europeans came along. And because it certainly wouldn't inhabit anywhere in California below 2,000 foot elevation. And it never made it there, except it stayed down here. And the natives down here, well, they had all kinds of uses for it. Like I said, they used the thatch to shed the rainfall. Look, here's a nice little tub on a warm day. I'm tempted to get in there just because it looks so fun. And then they also use the string, the fiber of the plant to make rope. This stuff here, see how stringy it is? Like, look how strong this is, watch. Putting a lot of weight. Yeah, imagine you bind that all up together. Really strong. And they also ate the fresh fruit. It's very small, but it's very sweet. Tastes like dates. And they actually, the hard part of the seed, they would grind that up and use that like flour. So here we are, California's native palm groves. You guys remember when the ice sheets covered North America? You don't? Well, these palms do. That's why they're here. So these palms are here because Ice Age came along and it basically made it so all these tropical plants couldn't survive. Everything dried out and sea levels dropped. No more inland sea in the Central Valley. And these trees, the only place they could live are places that were tropical, well, that just didn't freeze that bad. Maybe froze just a little bit, and there was water. The only place that's really like that back then were in these desert little pocket canyons where there's constant water flow and temperatures that are not that bad. So that's why the palms are here, and you should definitely come up here and check it out. So one of the more dramatic things, it's too bad the light is not on this right now, is when these Washingtonians catch fire. There was a huge fire here, I'm guessing from how the skirts have developed on the tree, probably about 2 years ago. There's actually a great photo on the internet. I'm gonna pull it off the internet, load it on, so you can see what I'm talking about. And yeah, all the dead stuff burns. The trees, you know, they do get pretty damaged. It's not good for them to burn, obviously. But they often survive, not all of them, but most of them. It does shorten their life and compromises them. But it does also lend a really beautiful, stark beauty of color contrast between the green and the black. And so there you go. But even though it's pretty, please do not burn the palms. I find it ironic that there's a great photo on the internet of these palms burning. And the reason I find that ironic is that why didn't it happen at night during a lightning storm when, you know, there was nobody around? Sometimes I get involved. I get kind of creative with conspiracy theories. They're mainly just kind of fun to think about. Sometimes they're true. They're not always false. But the problem is you don't know which ones are true and which ones are false for 30 years until they really dig into it. But in this case, my conspiracy theory is that this guy let an incendiary device in here on a timer, ran down the trail, got in the perfect vantage point, and then poof, took the photo. So, it's probably just a conspiracy theory, but it could be true. Yeah, let's go check it out more. All right, there you go, guys. That is the California fan palm, Washingtonia florifera, in its native habitat, slightly charred. So believe it or not, all these palm trunks you see here were washed down the river when it was just a torrent. Every now and then there's massive flows. There's a massive amount of area upstream of here that drains through this channel. And every so often you get conditions where it'll just fill up the whole thing and wash everything down from the mountains. Now look, this is really interesting. These are palm trunks. These are not. These are from woody trees. There's a whole forest of conifers and high up elevation above this canyon, and they all wash down from here or to here from there, and they provide some nice, basically this whole desert is sand because you have all this rock eroding into little pieces. It's mainly granite sand. And then to add to that, this soil is really starved of organic matter. So you can see how precious this is when this organic matter comes down and starts to fall apart and creates what amounts to soil, not just sand. You can see the native soil here. It's just this material here. It's completely devoid of any organic material. It's just all of these rocks just beat to pulverized pieces into little bits of sand. And then you finally get some of this material that comes down, and then it decomposes. And then look at that. That's like real soil there. Mix that with sand, you have something magical. And that's just another component of the California fan palm native habitat. Gorgeous sunsets out here in Borrego. But even better are the bathrooms. Look at that. I mean, it's a dark sky certified place where they really control the lights in all the buildings and everything downtown, so that you can see the stars at night. And so in a place like that where it doesn't get too cold, because it gets cold at night, I guess, but and you've got plenty of rock at your disposal, why not build your bathroom caveman style? And yeah, there you go. And now you know. Blends right in.